Kermode was refused a contract renewal by the three players' representatives, who include the controversial broadcaster Justin Gimelstob Credit. Action Images. The inquest into last week's decision to eject ATP president Chris Kermode began in earnest last night. Roger Federer complained that tennis politics is in turmoil, while Rafael Nadal suggested that the guys who are running the Player Council, which is chaired by World No. 1 Novak Djokovic, had failed to consult their colleagues. At a board meeting on Wednesday in Indian Wells, Kermode was refused a contract renewal by the three players' representatives, who include the controversial broadcaster Justin Gimelstob. Djokovic is also understood to have backed a change of leadership, although he has refused to confirm this, or to offer any explanation for the decision, citing confidentiality of the ATP structure. There has been widespread outcry at a move which will leave the men's tour without effective leadership at a time when, in the words of outgoing All England club chairman Philip Brook, there is more unilateral behaviour and discord in our sport among the governing bodies than I've seen in 20 years. After beating Peter Gojowczyk in his opening match in Indian Wells, Federer was asked for his views. He replied that he was a little worried, and added that tennis politics is in turmoil. Certain players disagree, the tournaments and the players are not of the same opinion, and that is the mood. You cannot say explosive, but there is already some uncertainty. Asked if he had been consulted on the decision, Federer replied, "I tried to meet Novak on the deadline, before the Player Council voted last Tuesday. Unfortunately he had no time. That's hard to understand for me. But it is okay. He certainly had a lot to do with the whole story." He suggested that we see each other the day after, but everything was already decided. Federer says tennis politics is in turmoil. Credit, AP. I want to know what the motive was, Federer added during his interview in Swiss German, and what Kermode does not seem to have done well. I would have tended to be more for him. In the past, there were situations in which one had to say, he or she just has to go away, that it's no longer possible. But that was not the case with Kermode. I have to think about whether I should get more involved again in the future, for the sake of the tour, because many were behind Kermode. Not all have the same priorities. Some think primarily of money, others of the tournament calendar, others are more concerned with power. That's always a big story. Nadal, who surged past Jared Donaldson for the loss of just 2 games, has been vocal in his support for Kermode, a 54-year-old Englishman who previously ran tournaments at Queen's and the O2 Arena before being elected ATP president in 2014. "It was my decision to be outside of the politics," said Nadal, who stepped down from the Player Council in 2012. "But at the same time, I am disappointed that nobody came and explained why. What's the real reason of we don't have Chris continuing running our sport? The guys who are in the council, at the end of the day, represent the rest of the players. They don't represent their opinions only. Normally, they have to ask the players about what they think to make a crucial decision like this one, and I really hope that they did with the rest of the players. If they did, it is great. It was not my case. I have my phone with me, so nobody texted me to speak about or to ask me about what's my thoughts about that decision." World No. 1 Novak Djokovic as chairman of the Players' Council. Credit, Getty Images. If a lot of players says this, that they weren't consulted, probably the guys who are running the council, they didn't make the right job, because they are there representing us, so normally they have to ask, what's our opinion? I really believe that after 18 years, 17 years around this sport, probably I have a good perspective of the things that can work well, other things that don't work that well. I will be happy to hear why that happened, and of course what's going on now. According to the ATP's unusual and tortured constitution, presidents serve 3-year terms and are traditionally renewed or deposed at the end of the second year. Mark Miles, the first man to hold the job after the formation of the tour in 1990, lasted for 15 years, and since then there have been 4 more incumbents: Etienne de Villiers, Adam Helfand, Brad Druitt, whose reign was tragically cut short when he developed motor neurone disease, and then Kermode. In Kermode's case, however, the vote for his removal was particularly divisive for 3 reasons. Firstly, because of the leading role played by Gimelstob, a controversial figure who will be back in a Los Angeles court on Wednesday for the latest in a series of hearings surrounding an alleged assault. Secondly, because both ATP tournaments and numerous players have expressed support for Kermode. And thirdly, because no explanation has yet been offered for this apparent coup.